All right, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and start us off here. Thanks for joining the financial aid and student account session. My name's Kristen, and I'm the Director of Admissions here. I've popped in some of your other sessions here, but I get to announce two very important departments and personnel in your time here at Milligan, the Student Financial Services offices and our Director of Student Accounts, Deidre Greeley. They're going to give you some details about financial aid, federal aid, student accounts, paying your student account, logging into the portal. You'll get a lot of details in this session, and I know that it will be useful to you. I do hope you were able to grab something to eat in the break. Ordinarily, if this were on-campus connections, lunch is actually my favorite part. Because Dr. Greer, our president, delivers a slightly humorous and very Milligan talk. But we actually have recorded that, and we're going to be sending it out to you so you can kind of get to know Dr. Greer and get to know the fun side of Milligan a little bit more. But for now, we're going to jump right into the details. And so Diane Keasling, our coordinator of financial aid, is going to talk to you all first. Then Deidre Greeley, our Director of Student Accounts, is going to talk to you second. And then we will open for questions generally. As you have them, feel free. There is a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. Feel free to put them there. And then I will kind of combine all your questions together. A lot of times people ask the same things, and I will ask that of our two departments here after they both finish talking. And hopefully we can get all your questions answered. Again, a lot of the questions too with financial aid and student accounts might be very situation or family specific. So if that is the case, I will actually be taking down your name and your question, and then either Student Financial Services or Student Accounts will follow up with you specifically. So if we don't answer your question today as a group, it may be too situation specific, and we will follow up with you after the webinar. Also, contact information for these two ladies, these two departments, can be found on the website and will also be sent to you. I'm keeping a list of everybody that registered for these webinars, and we will send you the contact information for all of the people that you saw in the sessions today. So without further ado, I'm going to let Diane take it over.
Welcome. We're so glad that you could join us this afternoon. Oops. I just muted myself.
Hey, Diane, you're now muted. You're good now.
Am I?
We got you now.
Okay. We really wish that you were here with us today so we could actually walk you through very specific questions that you might have, which would have normally been what we would do during this day. However, since you are not with us, we're going to just try to give you some and share some very basic questions and information with you to help you through the financial aid and student account process. If you haven't completed the 2021 FAFSA and are wishing to receive federal loans, you can complete the FAFSA at studentaid.gov. Also, for Tennessee residents who might qualify for the Tennessee Hope Scholarship, a FAFSA is required. The 21-22 FAFSA will be available on October 1st, 2020, and that FAFSA will use the 2019 income tax information. A FAFSA, of course, must be completed for every year that the student wishes to receive federal financial aid or the Tennessee Hope Lottery Scholarship. If the Central Processing Center chose your student's FAFSA for verification, you should be sure that all financial aid paperwork is completed and returned to Milligan. Milligan does award incoming students before verification is completed, but we don't disperse federal financial aid funds until the verification process has been completed. If you completed the FAFSA and used the IRS data retrieval tool during the FAFSA process, that's really great. You're really ahead of the game. If you did do that, all we would need from you then is a verification worksheet. The verification worksheet was actually mailed to students as soon as we received the answer from the processing of the FAFSA. If you still needed to provide a tax return transcript, that would need to be directly received from the IRS. And if you have questions on how to request that, or if you're having problems with receiving the tax return transcript, just contact our office and we'll help you through. And also for any other verification type questions that you have, just contact us directly. We are going to talk a little bit about the financial aid offer, and I'm actually going to show one so we can actually go through the process, and maybe it will make a little more sense what your son or daughter has received and what the next steps are to complete that process. The student should complete and sign each financial aid offer as received, so they can indicate the awards, particularly loans, that they are accepting. All pages of the financial aid offer should be returned, which also includes the last 2 pages of the letter, which is college financing disclosure. The first page of the financial aid offer shows all of the awards broken down by semester and also by type. You'll see the institutional grants listed, state grants, if it were lottery, or the Tennessee State grant. Any other non-Milligan assistance would be listed, and we're going to talk about how you let us know about that non-Milligan assistance. So all of those awards are totaled to give you a total of the basic free money that the student might qualify for, which would be all Milligan scholarships, outside scholarships, and state grants. Then the loans are listed. If the student qualifies for the federal direct subsidized loan, that amount will be listed, as well as the direct unsubsidized Stafford loan, which all students can qualify for. So that's the first page of the offer. Then when we go to the second page, this is where the student will actually tell us, and we do require this. This is the student's notification to our office that they are either accepting or declining the Stafford loan. And we're always glad when students can decline the loan, and all they have to do there is just say no. However, if they do intend to accept any portion of the loan, they should answer that question as yes, and then they would fill in the next 2 questions indicating the amount of the subsidized loan that they're accepting, as well as the amount of the unsubsidized loan they are accepting. So that would need to be completed, both questions there, if the student says they are accepting the loan. If they say no, they don't want the loan, they can leave those blank, or they can put 0. The external aid portion is where we would like the student to go ahead and let us know about any scholarships that they know they might be receiving. We would like them to tell us the name of the scholarship and the amount of the scholarship. If the scholarship is to be received all for 1 semester, we also would like them to indicate that as well. They could just say, I'm getting the Lions Club scholarship, $500 for fall. Then right below that section will be information telling you what is still needed to complete the financial aid file. Since we do award incoming students before we've completed the verification process, if the verification process has not been completed, everything that is still needed will be listed under those next steps. In addition, if the student accepts their loan, they are required to do Stafford loan entrance counseling and a master promissory note. And we're going to go over and at least let you see that website here in a little bit. But anything that is still needed to complete the financial aid file will be listed under next steps. Then the next portion of the offer letter is where the student actually signs and prints their name and dates the date that they have completed that financial aid offer. And as I mentioned, the last 2 pages would be the financing disclosure information. And this is really where we're just breaking down the financial aid budget based on the direct costs that the student would actually be paying to Milligan, and also show them an indirect cost portion, which would actually show them an estimate of what other school-related expenses they might incur during the year. So the direct costs are all that will be shown on the student account statement, but the indirect costs may be items that the student would need to incur, costs that they might incur. When the billing statements go out in the next few weeks, only financial aid that has been accepted on a financial aid offer will show on that student account. As when Deidre goes over that, you'll see. So we're strongly encouraging everyone to go ahead and complete and return their financial aid offers as quickly as they can. We really don't want to send out a statement to a student that just shows charges without any financial aid. So please remind your son or daughter, if they've not already completed that process, to please go ahead and complete that as quickly as they can. Also, for Tennessee students who are eligible for the Tennessee Student Assistance Award or Hope Lottery funding, and the student did not list Milligan as the first college on the FAFSA, the student will need to make a change with the Tennessee Student Assistance Corporation, which they can do by completing a change of institution form or going to the TSAC portal. Milligan can only request funds for students who are on our certification roster. So at the time we sent out the initial financial aid offer to our students, if this was the situation for the student, we did go ahead and mail with that offer a change of institution form to try to make it easy for your son or daughter to make that change with TSAC. And I know a lot of students have already done that. We will be following up in the next few weeks as a reminder to students who have not made the change yet on the best way for them to make that change. We're showing here the TSAC student portal where the student can go in directly to change the institution to Milligan. Or, as I said, they can also complete the change of institution form that was mailed with the initial award letter. If a student was awarded WorkStudy on their financial aid offer and they accept that award, they will receive additional information as well as a WorkStudy contract during the summer. In fact, some of your sons or daughters might have already received that information from our director of WorkStudy. So be watching for that. It will show the list of jobs that are available, and the student can then choose what job that they want to choose to work. However, a lot of our students want to work WorkStudy and were not originally awarded that on their first offer letter. So for those students, if they will just check back with our office on or after registration day, that way we can see what jobs are still open, and we can work with your son or daughter to see if maybe they could receive a WorkStudy position for the 2021 academic year. For the loan processes, wanted to just let you see the studentaid.gov website. This really comes into play for the student. As I mentioned before, if they are accepting the loan and they have not completed entrance loan counseling or a master promissory note, they will need to do that before we can request the funding, from the Department of Education. So as I said, that will always show up on the offer letter that's incomplete, and we also send out tracking letters. Also, for parents who might want to borrow for the PLUS loan program, there is a process for you where you would actually go to studentaid.gov, apply for a Parent PLUS loan, and you will complete the MPN, both processes. When you do the application to apply for the loan, you are told immediately whether you've been approved for the loan. So once you go through that process, you will know within minutes there that you've been approved to receive the loan. When we receive notification that you've been approved for the Direct Plus loan, we will actually generate another financial aid offer letter, which we will send out to the student. And on the second page of this offer letter, there will be information for you, the parent. The parent should review and complete the PLUS loan information, indicating the parent that will be borrowing the loan, as well as the amount of the loan that you wish to borrow. On that section of the financial aid offer letter, this is the only financial aid offer that the parent signs, but it's only that particular section of the financial aid offer. So that's a little bit different. The student always signs and completes the actual financial aid offer, but if the parent is applying for a PLUS loan and has been approved to receive that loan, they will indicate on a financial aid offer that they are accepting that loan, and again, indicate the amount that they wish to borrow. Interest rates for the 2020-2021 academic year have been released now. Beginning July 1, the Stafford subsidized and unsubsidized Stafford loan will have a 2.75% fixed interest rate. And for you, the parent that might be applying for a Parent PLUS loan, the interest rate will be 5.3% fixed interest rate. So again, for the student's loan, the Stafford subsidized and unsubsidized interest rate's 2.75, PLUS loan interest rate is 5.3. There are also loan origination fees on all of the loans, the federal subsidized and unsubsidized loan, as well as the PLUS. If the parent is borrowing in the PLUS loan program, there's an origination fee right now of 4.236%. That means 4.236% right off of the top of the loan will be deducted from that loan. We always want to be sure that parents understand that, because if you're trying to get your financial aid to cover exact charges, that 4% really cuts into the amount of the PLUS loan gross amount that you borrowed. So for example, if you borrowed $10,000, it'd be about $423 of that would be held out right off the top for origination fees. If you need help with determining the amount you want to borrow, if you'll contact our office, we can walk through that process and help you determine the gross loan amount that you need to borrow to cover the exact charges that you might have. If the student is applying for an alternative loan, we do mail with the initial financial aid offer packets just an alternative loan request form. The only time that form really needs to be completed is if the student is completing the applying for an alternative loan and they have already been approved to receive that loan. The form indicates to us the student has applied, which lender they've applied to, and what the amount that they wish to borrow would be. Also, be sure, you've probably already heard today, and you'll hear many more times, be sure that your son or daughter completes the FERPA form. we would need to be sure that the student has given permission for us to discuss their financial aid or their student account balance with you. And the easiest way is to just go ahead and complete that FERPA form. That way we have it on file, and when you call in, we'll be able to discuss what we need to with you. Be sure that all financial aid processes are complete and the student account balance is paid in full by the day before the first day of class. So on registration day, all financial aid processes and payments should be completed so that registration would not be canceled. I'll be glad to take general questions that you might have right now for just a few minutes, and then Deidre's going to speak, and we'll still have questions at the end as well.
So Diane, I'll just pose these questions to you real quick here. One of them is if they received unexpected outside scholarships but already have returned the offer letter, how can they notify you of these scholarships?
Okay, that's a good question. I don't want us to generate another financial aid offer to you just so you can tell us about those scholarships. So you can just contact our office or email our office with those specific information. We will add it to a financial aid offer and mail it to the student. But if you want to just let us know the amount, the scholarship, and again, if it's for the year or for the semester, we can then go from there.
Great. The other questions are, where is the FERPA form? And I can answer that one. So the FERPA form is actually usually filled out in person at actual connections or at move-in, but IT is actually building a secure upload for us. So you do not have the FERPA form yet, but once that upload is built and it's secure, then we will be sending you an email so you can fill it out and then you can upload it to us. We just, right now, our submission through the website is not the most secure, so we're kind of doing it through some of our internal secure software, so that is forthcoming.
Good.
Great. Oh, one more. This question is, when getting a loan, do we ask for the total amount per year, or are we thinking about the amount that we will need over a 4-year period?
That's a very good question. And that's exactly why you complete a FAFSA every year, so you can be awarded for each year your loan eligibility. So for the 2021 year, you would only be asking for the loan that you wish to borrow for the 2021 academic year. Then the following year, you'll get a new financial aid offer where you can indicate the loan amount you want to borrow for that year, and so forth.
Great. Well, we'll go ahead and we'll switch it over to Deidre. Feel free, if you think of something, a question that pops into your head, feel free to put it in the Q&A at the bottom of the screen. But we'll hand it over to Deidre now.
Hi, I'm Deidre Greeley. I'm coordinator of student accounts. And so after you have done all your financial aid things that you need to do, then it comes over to me. So I do the billing and then payments. So we're going to go over today the billing that you're going to see, how to go onto your self-service account, which is the online billing, and then making payments and setting up a payment plan. So first, if you want to start with at the beginning, normally we send out statements by the 10th of June. Obviously, we're not getting that done this year. So you should have a statement by the end of June. And you'll receive a paper statement, and it will come with instructions, with more information. It'll come with instructions on setting up the payment plan and some more information, but you'll get a paper statement. You'll also get an email that says you have a statement online on your self-service account. So you'll can go online, and we'll go over that. First, I want to show you just your paper statement. And let me share screen. This is what the paper statement will look like that you'll get in the mail. And it will show your charges in the first section. If you're doing room and board, all your charges up front. And as Diane mentioned, down here, your anticipated aid, this will only be here if you signed your award, your financial offer, and returned it. So if you do not return your offer, you will not have any anticipated aid showing. We have a non-Milligan scholarship on this statement. So this student received an outside scholarship for $500. The outside scholarships only go on the account when we receive the check or the money. So that's not showing on anticipated aid. It's just when we get the money, we do put it on, and it shows as a non-Milligan scholarship, and here's your amount. So down here is the loans that Diane went over earlier, the loans and the HOPE and a Milligan academic scholarship. Every student is packaged differently. So these are just a few, but we've got many, many different kind of scholarships that you would see on your statement. Lower is information on the due date and the payment amount, and where you would want to return it if you do a check or send in money. So feel free to ask any questions if you have any questions on that statement. And we are going to go to self-service. So I believe the best way to get into your self-service account, which is your online billing, go to today.milligan.edu. And our website pops up. You can see interesting information, any news. You may have already seen this from other groups, but just interesting information to keep up with Milligan. Up at the top, you see students can get into their emails here, but you see self-service. You want to click that and go into the login. Your username and password you should have received from IT, or you will receive it if you haven't already, but your username is going to be the characters before the @ in your email. And then we come to, you just put it in again. With your password, and our screen comes up. So registration and grades, that's something on the academic side, but we're going to look at finances. And you just roll over it and click balance. So this is going to come to kind of an overall view of your account. So as you can see, I've got $500 was paid towards spring semester, and that's a non-Milligan grant. So the non-Milligan grants you saw earlier, or scholarship, someone had sent $1,000 for a non-Milligan scholarship. We put $500 on fall and $500 on spring. So this is showing the spring. Over here, you can go to any number of semesters. We're going to look at fall 2020. And this shows just an overview of your account. You can see the dorm fees, meal plan, and tuition is on here. And now this is a big question we get from a lot of people. This is only showing the money that we have actually received. So that anticipated aid is not going to show on here. So only the $500 in the non-Milligan scholarship is what's showing. Down at the bottom, this shows your semester balance. This shows that $500 credit that we're going to have for a spring semester. And then that's the total balance on the account. What you're really looking at, though, more is the balance just for fall semester. Now, again, it doesn't really help to see all this if you don't see your financial aid. So we would rather see a statement. If you look here, the statements are not set up using this link in SelfService. So you want to go to make a payment. Even if you're just viewing and you're not going to make a payment, we still click make a payment. So here we are at the overview screen. This is the screen that you're really going to want to look at most. Kind of skip over that financial if you don't need or if you need more details. Over here is notifications. This is instructions on setting up the payment plan, but we are going to get to that later. So we'll X out of that. The first, if you look at your name, you have your basic information. You can add a payment method here and save it. Or when you're making a payment, you can save it at that time also. Now, this is very important information here. If a parent or guardian or someone is paying your tuition, or even if they're just making payments, giving you a graduation present, you can send a payer invitation here. You enter their information, put their email address, confirm, and then send an invitation. What this will do is, so say you're doing it for a parent, the parent's email, you enter that, and they will get an email and say, you've been set up. It will give a link to this account and login and password. So now the parent can go on the account and make payments. They can set up the payment plan. Pretty much anything financially they're able to do through this link. So that's very important for parents to know. And if with this email address, by putting this email address on here, parents will get emails when a new statement is out there to view or when a payment needs to be made. One thing on our paper statements are only mailed in June for fall semester, in December for spring semester, and then again in April, just saying this is your last statement, this is your final balance for the year, if there is one. So otherwise, every month we put statements out on SelfService. So the parent will get an email that says the statement is out there and there's a balance on the account. So they can get on and look at the statement. So can't say enough. It's great to put a parent on this payer invitation. And while we're at it, Diane mentioned it, but I'm going to also mention again. If a parent sets up a payment plan and calls in one month and says, I can't remember what the payment is, or can I change the payment? We cannot give that parent any information, even if the parent makes the payments, even if the parent set up the payment plan. We have to have that FERPA form signed in order to give any kind of information. All right, so that's pretty much this page. And let's go to overview. This gives you your student account balance. Again, that's without the anticipated aid. we'll come back to payment plan, but here's another option to send a payer invitation. So let's go to statements. So the statement you got in the mail, it's going to look a little bit different online, but it's all the same information. And you can see here, we've still got Milligan College, but IT is working on that, and it's going to say Milligan University very soon. So this, again, is the same information laid out a little differently, but this is what you will see online, and you can print this out. Many times if you get outside scholarships, they will want to say, you know, we need to see a statement of your charges just to make sure they don't pay more than you owe. And you can do this and print it out. So again, ask any questions if you have a question about the statement. You can also save it for future use. Now we're going to go to make a payment. This says, how much would you like to pay? This shows your total balance. Obviously, you're not going to pay that balance because you have financial aid. So you can look at your statement and say, you know, my amount was less, and this can be changed. The term, you'll want to change it to the correct term you're paying for, which will be fall 2020, and continue. I didn't change the amount, but that's okay, because I'm actually not going to make this payment. You can enter your credit debit card here or your banking information. Credit and debit cards are charged a convenience fee, but if you enter your bank routing number and account number, you're not charged any fee. So just remember that you can pay using banking information and there's no fee for that. Again, I'm going to go through real quickly here. What's left is the enrolling in a payment plan right up here, notifications. That kind of gives you some instructions on setting up the payment plan. The big thing is you double your charges and you double your anticipated aid. What that's going to do is add the estimated spring. That way, you put it over 11 months, 10 months, or 9 months. If you enroll this month in June, you put the balance over 11 months of payments. If you enroll in July, it's 10 months. And if you enroll in August, it's 9 months. So you can see the instructions there. And then go make a payment and enroll in a payment plan. So right now, since this is June, you've got 11-month option. At the end of June, that will automatically switch and you'll have a 10-month option in July. Okay, I've just bombarded you with quite a bit of information. So we have lots of questions.
Yeah, some of them are kind of directed towards Diane. Some of them are general. Diane, are you still here with us? Let me make sure she's around. Diane, if you can hear me, your mute and video buttons are there. Oh, I see you coming.
I'm working on it.
Perfect.
Okay.
You're good. Okay, awesome. So some of the questions are related to the Parent Plus loan. The first question says, does the Parent Plus loan allow one parent to request 2 loans for different students attending in the same academic year?
Okay, the parent would need to complete and be approved for a loan for each student. They can't apply for one loan and it be split between two students. But yes, they can apply for John and for Sue, but they would need to go through the process for each student.
Okay. Also, a question about repayment of the Parent Plus loan. The question is that a loan that you can merge together as one loan for each year you attend, or are they separate loans?
I think that it's all, the servicer would let the parent know about each particular loan. They might be actually delaying payment on the loan while the student is in school. So each year's loan would be a separate a loan.
And once the student graduates and payment is set up, does that become one, or is it a separate payment for each?
It becomes one loan for each individual year.
Question, another one about Parent Plus. Do the funds go directly to Milligan or to the parent and student?
That's a great question. The loans actually are dispersed to Milligan and applied to the student account. If any of the federal aid exceeds student account charges, the credit balance refund is refunded back to the parent unless they indicate they want the credit balance to go to the student. So they might actually be borrowing more than direct charges, and so there might be a credit balance situation, and they would need to indicate at the time that they are applying for that loan if they want any credit to come to them or to their student.
Yeah. And one more Parent Plus loan question. Does the Parent Plus loan allow for payment deferral until after graduation?
Yes, interest does accrue, but yes, the parent can defer payment until the student has graduated.
Great. Question about the FERPA form. Can more than one person be on the FERPA form? And I can show you that FERPA form here. This is what it will be like when you receive it. So you can actually see, you're just authorizing here at the top. Permission, there's a place for 2 people here, but you can fill out more than one form if you need to, and the student's signature. So it's a very simple form, and we just didn't want to make you upload something with contact information for people in a less than secure portal. So that will be coming out to you shortly with the ability to upload it to us. It also can be filled out once you get here to campus, but I can definitely understand why you'd want to do it as soon as possible. And the last question is, if you haven't received the login or password for your accounts, that would be something you can start with admissions to contact us about that. And I actually wrote the student's name who sent this. The deposit of a student is really what prompts the login and password to be sent. So if you haven't received it, go ahead and give admissions an email. You can just email admissions@milligan.edu, or you can contact your recruiter that you've been working with, or just give us a call on Monday. IT will be back in the office on Monday. I would fear that it may have gone to your spam or your junk, so check there too, but we can definitely resend that very easily. Good. I have no more questions waiting. If you have any more, feel free to put in there. This question is there a deadline for Parent Plus loan application for fall?
No, there really isn't a deadline for the Plus application. However, if you are using that to pay the balance, you do want to do that and be approved and have all the financial aid processes completed before school starts, if that's a part of the payment of the student account. But you can apply all year for the Parent Plus loan until the last day of the semester.
I didn't add on there too that for the billing, the due date is the Friday before classes start. So the due date is Friday, August 21st. So if you're doing a 529 plan, if you're doing alternative loans or the Parent Plus loan. You just want to make sure that you get that done early and it's taken care of before that Friday before classes start.
I'm going to answer this question live too. The question is, where do parents get a login for self-service? And that was the payer invitation that Deidre was kind of demonstrating. So the student actually has to log into their portal and sends an invitation to the parents, to their email, to create a login to the portal. Question about the convenience fee for using a charge card. Is it a percentage or a flat rate?
It's a percentage. Online, it's 2.75%, and it's a credit or a debit card. Again, you can enter your banking routing number and account number, and there's no charge for that.
Good questions. Well, I have no more open questions for right now. All of these sessions from today are being recorded, and we will be sending a thank you for attending email after all of the sessions. Probably next week we need to kind of edit the videos and then we'll post them, and we will alert you when they are posted on the website. We will also provide contact information for everybody that was on these sessions as well. And we've got time for this question here, Diane. Questions about the TSAC portal and what they need to tell TSAC and the change of institution form. So I will let you handle that one.
Okay. If the student completed their FAFSA and Milligan was not the first Tennessee school listed on the FAFSA, and they do qualify for either the Tennessee grant or lottery, they would need to either use the change of institution form or go to the portal. I know TSAC actually likes students to just complete the information on the portal, but either one works perfect. The change of institution form, they can fill out, send it to us. We'll send it on to TSAC for the student. They would actually complete the information saying semesters affected would be fall and spring. They would indicate down below there the programs that apply, which would be the Tennessee Hope and Tennessee Student Assistance Award if they have been awarded the grant. And then they would just sign and date. And this form is a situation where they can only put their last 4 digits of their social, so it would be safe for them to complete that and email or scan it back to us, and we can send it to TSAC on their behalf. Or, as I said, they can go to the TSAC portal and just make that change directly themselves.
Another question is, can the students use the parents' banking info so the parents do not have to set up an account?
Yes. Yes, they can just enter the parent banking information.
Great. Well, we've had some great questions. If you think of any after we get off the webinar, like I mentioned, contact information will be sent to you. Deidre and Diane, thank you so much for showing all of us, you show all the things. So thank you. And we'll see you all in the next session, in the next parent session.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.